Hello and welcome back to the European HCS Pro League fall season. What a way to kick off day number one, week number one, with Pulse Gaming going 3-0 in the series to unfortunately give Prophecy their first loss. My name is Sims and I'm going to be guiding you through the entirety of the season alongside these two lovely looking gentlemen.
Right.
Of course, game number one then, go down exactly how you expected?
Yes. We knew that Pulse were going to be here to make a statement today. I'm not sure we were expecting the statement to be that bold and that impactful and that hurtful towards the Prophecy squad, but
Hurtful's a good word.
We saw the tweet from Buck20 saying we got completely outplayed and we made a lot of mistakes, so congratulations to Pulse, but we've got a lot to work on, and I think that's the right attitude to have.
That's good sportsmanship, but then again, that's the Bucks all over. They're, they've been in the scene, they're not to accept a loss, they're not to move forward, and to be honest with you, I have no doubt in my mind that those guys will come back with a vengeance. We've seen them. Do you remember in the first season, obviously they did the reversal at the time on what was X-Men. This team has a lot of potential, okay? We give them a little bit of crap at the start, saying that we think they're definitely weaker than the summer season, but there is years of experience, and there is tons and tons of talent. Honestly, we're not going to count them out just yet. No. But we're now moving in to our second series of the night, and honestly, this is my favourite series of the night. This is going to be, I think it's going to be a close one. I don't think it's going to be a 3-0. I'll be disappointed if it is. Vibe versus Infused.
Yeah, in rehearsals, Dan basically said, oh, what do you think the match of the week is? And after the fact, I'm kind of regretting saying Pulse versus Prophecy, because that was a little bit of a stomp. Hopefully Infused versus Vibe lives up to the bill. Because on paper, this is the rematch of the third and fourth place team last season, and both teams, in my opinion, have gotten a little bit better. So hopefully this time around, we'll see if Vibe is the real deal. Obviously, they've added 2 superstars from 2 different teams, and Infused have made some changes as well. So let's hope both teams have improved and we see some really good Halo.
Well, if you remember at Summer Finals, it came down to a 4-3 in the best of 7. There was a 50-47 Slayer game at the end. And do you remember how good Infused were at Slayers? And they weren't really winning objectives. They did manage to get one against Vibe, but I think you both are right. It's going to be one of those tight series that I can't really call. I think if I had to go with someone, I'd go with Vibe just because of some of the big names, but I know Infused are going to be working hard here. And
one thing we have to mention that these two teams at finals, this came down to a game 7 at the very end to see who went through to the next round. But we're speaking of finals, you can see there on the screen, they've just popped up. I may have just missed it, but if you want to be joining us, tickets are now on sale. ESL.gg/EUHCS-fall. I believe they're 6 or 7 quid only. You can come down to the studio. Summer season finals were a right laugh. They were
a right laugh.
It was a
right laugh.
That's your accent.
Sorry, I dipped into my West Country.
It's a right laugh, my friend.
Laugh, my lover.
Lots of fun down playing some Halos. I mean, that just comes down this tractor. That
is how I
got a big combine harvester, and I'll give you the key.
The key.
Yep.
I know you just said that simply because of key, didn't you?
What?
Key. Key.
The key. Like West Key.
Never mind.
What?
Ignore me. It's gone straight over his little head. But yeah, of course, that will be in lowercase as well. If you want to be joining us, you want to come down to the studio, there's bar, there's food, and there is plenty of Halo. Get to meet the players, get to hang out.
Get to meet Wonder Boy.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't look at that face?
You can slap him a little bit for all the savageness that he gives on stream.
I think savage is a bit of an overused word. I prefer sassy. I think I'm sassy. Sassy Wonderboy, yeah. I think that's a new Twitter handle right there. @Sassy Wonderboy.
Sassy Wonderboy. No, I'm digging it.
Yeah?
I think he's right. I think he's a little bit sassy.
Oh, fair enough then. Oh well, moving on to the next one, because I don't know where we're going with this conversation, so I'm just going to switch this one over to the series layout, and we'll talk exactly how this one is going to be playing out for you guys. As you can see, it's going to be Team Vibe taking on Team Infused. Both teams making some changes as we walk on into the fall season. These two teams have met several times, especially in that brutal Game 7 at the summer season finals. Infused could not clutch it up, unfortunately, when it mattered the most. Team Vibe's experience really just paid off. Let's take a look at Team Vibe now and show you guys at home how the new roster is looking. Snaky, Cristola, Snipe Drone, and Septic. They, my friends, are some big, big names. That is a fantastic, fantastic lineup.
It really is, and I'm so excited for this lineup because when Septic came back after taking a bit of a break from Halo, he kind of said, look, I really want to get back into this. I want to make a squad that's going to beat people. The Vibe lineup that came to finals last season was a very spriteful one. They were very fun. They were exciting. This one seems a little bit more serious. I think they'll still have that kind of comradeship. They'll be good friends, but they've got that. Yeah, they have a little bit of swag, but they're also going to be very serious. They're going to want to knuckle down and get down to business.
Something you've noticed we put on there about the international talent, some of the most creative in-house and graphic designers. Out of Vibe, we have seen some fantastic, the YouTube stuff, the montages, the graphic design, of course the logo, everything about this org. It's all player-owned and player-managed. And I think that's a credit to Septic, and I believe it is Brightside. It is Alad. A credit to them for running this, building up this product. And one of the things that we have to mention about Vibe as well, they've had big names play. Ninja's played for this team. They won back in Halo 4. No, not I. It was EGL9.
EGL9.
They've done some big things. The org itself has done big things, and now they've got a powerful, powerful roster behind it. We'll see how they do out in the fall season. As we switch on across to Team Infused, Batchford, Kimbo, Flux, and Havoc. 2 new players added to this roster. One interesting one is Kimbo, who I believe an hour before roster lock got booted off of Fab.
Yeah, he was playing musical chairs and he found himself without a seat. But Infused, they made room, and now Kimbo is right here. He's looking for revenge. I'm looking forward to seeing a fired-up Kimbo. He was a very solid talent on that, obviously, season-winning Fab-E roster. So him slotting into this Infused team is certainly going to give them a lot of firepower. And if he can play with Havoc, who's a very aggressive playmaking player, then I could see Kimbo being an absolute star for this team.
One thing to mention about Havoc, he is what this team needed for me at finals. When we looked at him at finals, it was very much head down, play your game, let's win it, let's go, let's do his own thing. There was, and there's no disrespect, there really felt like there was no life in that team. And I think that's why they lost that Game 7, because there was so much pressure on them. Fair enough, it's a young roster. I believe that was a few at Batchford's second only LAN event. There was a lot of pressure added onto them, and they really needed to inject some life. I've got to say, since Havoc's been on this team, have you seen how, not cocky, but have you seen how much Batchford's changed?
Yeah. I've seen a few tweets. Seen a couple of things on Twitter, a little bit of this going on.
He's got this now, hasn't he? There's a bit of swagger in that boy's tweets, I've got to say.
Well, you've got a big man backing you up now. And that's what's going to be happening in-game. If they can reach finals, we've seen how Havoc's voice can change a game. When he starts screaming at an opponent, they're going to be quivering with their pads.
That's the only reason I'm so sassy, is because I got Sims backing me up. He's like twice my size, so...
You could have said me. It's fine.
6'2" and half-tatted, boys. That's what I am exactly.
Please don't flex. Please stop.
Looking at the series layout, then let's see how this one is going to play out with these 2 incredible lineups. Truth Capture the Flag will begin. Number 1, straight into a Truth Slayer. Game number 2. Game number 3 will be Plaza Strongholds, and then if we need a 4 and 5, it will be Stasis Capture the Flag and Colosseum Slayer. Some nice little game types there, boys. Any initial thoughts, Dan?
I'd love to touch on what happened at finals when Vibe, they 3-0'd Infused on Truth Capture the Flag, but because these lineups are so different now, I don't even think we can look back to those games and make any sort of assumptions from them. I think Truth Capture the Flag in general I'm going to lean towards Vibe, just because I think that Infused are going to have a little bit more slaying power and they might come out in the Slayers. But I'm expecting big things from Kimbo into that Infused roster. He might help them.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely perfect what you touched on about Kimbo, because on Truth Capture the Flag, think about Fab-E. What weapon did Kimbo have all the time? That fuel rod. What weapon did he always have on Plaza? He always had that sniper rifle. He was a constant power weapon player for his team, and now he's slotting into this Infused team, which, in my opinion, was lacking that kind of power weapon control before. So Infused could definitely benefit greatly from these first 2 game types, considering they have Kimbo on their team, and that man is fuel rod hungry.
I've got to say, though, the stuff that we saw Septic doing at finals on Truth, that highlight reel that we've recently, and also the top 5 from the European players, the triple kill that he did with that BR is possibly one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Septic, for me, is in my top 3 players in Europe. He's up there with the best of them. You got Jimbo, Mose, Respectful, Fox, and, well, funnily enough, I'm just reeling off Fab-E there, to be honest with you.
That's just Fab-E.
He has Fab-E in one, but yeah, without question, Septic, he's amazing, and I'm looking forward to see what he does. And for Vibe, been this roster that I know Septic will want to be. Every player does, don't get me wrong. But Septic's one of those that he wants to I am the best. You know, this team is one of, if not the best in Europe. And they really need a good start to kind of stamp and solidify yourself on the Pro League. They need to take down Infused. And I think he'll want to take it down as quick as possible. So we're talking 3-game sweep here.
Yeah, and considering that, you know, Septic still wants to be on top of the mountain, the fact he's brought in Cristola, who was one of the hottest talents, you know, in the league, obviously found himself in relegation and said, you know what, I don't want to be there again. Let's team up with Septic. And also taking Snipe Drone, who's been a superstar in Europe since Halo 4. So the fact that Septic does want to be on top of that pile, considering the moves that he's made, like ditching his friends and, you know, starting to form this kind of, I don't want to say God squad, but, you know, solid individuals and molding them around that, it's quite a testament to the fact that Septic wants to be on the top of the heap in Europe, and he's making moves to make sure that happens.
It's going to be how he can kind of control these players, how he can control Cristola and Snipe Drone. I feel like Cristola is one of these players, he's still young, you can kind of still mold him into your own play style. Not sure you can do that with Snipe Drone as much. Snipe Drone has a way he wants to play this game, and you just need to be like, hey Mike, can you come with us for this push? Can you help us here? And if he does help you, it's going to be great, because Snipe Drone is a fantastic player.
Interestingly, don't have Jimbo though. We've got to point this out. He's no longer with Jimbo, so I want to see who's going to be that right-hand man playing with them, because we kind of saw before how him and Jim just really played off one another. You'd see Snipe Drone getting into a position because Jimbo would allow it. Fair enough, I think we played it a little bit too much of the buddy system, but I'm quite excited to see now who becomes his best friend during these games. Two of them will be pushing on up into P2. Grenades are going in. We will not see any hit markers whatsoever. Havoc taking a quick peek outside the window. Doesn't see anybody. Two players, though. That's going to be Kimbo, who picks up the first camo. We're going to see Snipe Drone take him down quite easily. Cristola's there to back him up. And instantly, that's 3 down. Looking for the 4th player. That's going to be, I'm not entirely sure who that was. I think it was Septic steaming in with the sword. Yes, it was indeed. Managed to get 1 kill, but he did get cleaned out. But look at all these players. Look at all those blue bodies, boys, just waiting to be picked up by Snipe Drone. And now, interestingly, that is pushing it. There's plenty of people in there. Clearly, they're going to go for the opposing push. Nice kill, though, coming out of Snaky. But they're actually going to run this through. I was hoping Snipe Drone was going to wait there and let them bring the flag to them. But it's a little bit of an unorthodox move, I must say.
It is. They need to be careful as well, because we do see Flux just picking up that fuel rod cannon. He's going to try and take down this flag as best as he can, but he is surrounded by a swarm of Vibe players, and this all stemmed from the start. Vibe were more than happy to give up that control of the camouflage. They just took control of P2. They sent 2 members Carbine as well, and they were able to gain this early map control. Now they need to find a way of putting this flag in, though. We do see Batchford. He's going to pull the flag to try and delay it, but that's going to be 1-0 to Vibe. A nice early lead from them.
They're certainly on fire. Septic putting some great shots in there, pinning down Havoc. He'll get the call out. Cristola will go down to try and seal the deal and finish it off, but you know what? Havoc's got a storm rifle. He says, no, not today, my friend. Takes him down. Kimbo's going to wipe out Septic. So now they've got the control. Now they can move forward. Havoc's going to go jump up. He's got a teammate hiding around. Oh, he's actually been dropped down there. One went down. Outside, he will get a move on the flag, but honestly, no one's really in a position to do anything. Snaky's going to try and clear up that one, which he does. He'll now go for the return. In fact, he doesn't. He decides to wander away with it. Then he goes for the return. Carbine and Storm Rifle in hand. Plenty of weapons to do, plenty of work with. We'll push on through, trying to find Havoc off the spawn. He's downstairs. Cristola's going to go one-on-one with him again. This time, Cristola comes out on top. Flux, unfortunately, just falls into the sights of him. As we see Cristola bagging himself a double kill and gets the flag on the move.
At the moment, it seems like Infused just keep getting caught out in these kind of odd positions, and they're not really expected to be pushed in certain situations. They need to expect the unexpected. We saw Kimbo was just in P2 and he threw a nade just to make sure that no one was going to kill him as he walked around the corner.
Yeah, the problem with this flag right at the moment here for Infused, the fact that Viber just kind of being really patient. I mean, look, that flag is around halfway return. No one's touched that, and look at the kill feed. Vibe, happy to be patient. They're slaying out, and this should really be an easy flag up here for Cristola. This should be 2-0.
That was a super bottleneck. They literally just put the flag out, baited them, and 3 members went underneath the base and just went steaming out towards that area, and they just got mopped up one by one. 9:20 on the clock and already 2 flags in the bag. Flux is going to come steaming out. He will get a nice little duck though.
Oh!
What? Excuse me. Excuse me?
I mean,
what?
A great decision to switch there. He clearly saw that the player was going to go out of his sights. He just managed to spin and finish off that headshot. He knew he was going to be weak because of the callouts from his player. So good work from him, not just having that one focus, not being too worried about that one player. More than happy to trade a death there. And now I just want to see Vibe just continue this control. They've got top mid control. Infused are going to be trying to get back into this game. And Vibe just need to make sure that they stop any kind of progression that Infused have trying to get top mid.
The biggest thing for me is just some of the skill and some of the shots on these players. How he just whipped around and literally snapped to that player's head. One bullet, one target, one shot, so to speak. Bang, straight between the eyeballs. Down he went. Flux is having a bit of a hard time between two players. I think actually 3. Look at how many red outlines we've got swarming that flag. And then we've got Snipe Drone in the back, just waiting for his teammates to bring the flag in. He's in a great place. No one can get that flag. Mike's defending his own. Snake is up in the top corner. Ground pound town, 3-0. There you go, my friends. Job done.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Dan, but I absolutely kind of love the play there from Snipe Drone. He spawned in his own base, knew the flag was being run across the map, and said, hey, they're going to come from the other side. So he just bobbed his head round, made an appearance, made sure Kimbo had to kind of go more direct for the flag. That's exactly what happened. The bodyguards, you know, just guarding the flag, completely shut down Kimbo. That made it an easy cap in the end for Snakey, and just an all-round fantastic job there out of Vibe. No one really standing out. Snakey and Snipe Drone doing the heavy slaying work, but 2 caps out of Cristola and some great objective work as well out of Septic, just controlling BRs and making sure his team can push in cleanly. So it's a great job out of Vibe. It's exactly what we expected out of them going into this game.
It's pretty much what I was going to say as well about Kimbo. He was forced to go top mid and forced to try and take on an unfamiliar route, a route that's never going to work too well if you know that their people are in that P2, but they're just going to rain down some shots on you. So it was unfortunate and great work from Snipe Drone, as Harry said.
I think it has to just come down to the aggression and the pressure they applied to Infused. Every time we looked at Infused, they were just surrounded by Vibe. They were completely swarming. And the one thing, it was kind of a, you know, I'll move forward, you take my place. You'd see one person shooting them from P2 or Carbine. That one player would move into the base to apply more pressure, and then you'd have someone like Snipe Drone or, you know, or Snakey moving into that place to take his role.
I wanted to give a massive shout out there to that kind of double and then flag run from Cristola, because afterwards we had that bottleneck situation. This kind of 180 shot there from Cristola was absolutely great. But again, this is the Kimbo run where he was forced to go top middle by Snipe Drone. But again, the second flag run from Cristola was perfect. He got the double, got the flag out of the base, and then said, hey, you know what? They're still spawning. Let's just, this flag, you know, they're not going to return it. They're just going to go and overextend for this. That's exactly what happened. They punished Infused, and then the second flag was run. Just an all-round great job, I think, from Vibe. They're looking very well oiled so far.
Well,
kinky.
Well,
Ainsley Harriet.
Sassy, yeah.
Sassy Wonderboy.
Okay, then my little ginger oracle of love.
Oh, me.
Truth on truth, then. Back-to-back truths. Going into a Slayer now. Obviously, definitely, Vibe had the slaying advantage. Is this going to transition to the same in game number 2?
I mean, from what we saw last season when Infused were just awful on objectives, I'm going to call them out. They were awful objectives, but they were fantastic at Slayers. I don't know if it's going to transfer over. I feel like there is some sheer slaying power from Batchford in that Infused lineup, so I'd be expecting this game to be a little bit closer, but it's just that map control that Vibe had, and if they have that map control, then it is going to be incredibly hard for Infused to even get out of any of those bases, and it's all going to stem from that starting point, because once you do start well and you do get those battle rifles, you get those carbines, it's incredibly hard to get out of your spawn.
I want to talk about, you know, before the game, we talked about Kimbo and how he controls that fuel rod. Infused didn't have any map control, and he was never allowed to get even anywhere near that weapon in that game. I think the key going into this Slayer is making sure you control the rifles first and foremost, and then making sure you get the fuel rod in Kimbo's hands, because if he's allowed to roam with that, then he can do absolutely devastating damage. But as I said, I mean, Fabi, they always had map control when Kimbo was on that team, so he was allowed to roam with it. Do Infused still have that kind of stranglehold that Fabi had on teams? I don't think so. I think that remains to be seen. So if Infused can start slaying, start winning their individual battles, start getting a little bit of map control, and then let Kimbo do his thing, they have a chance of winning this game. But it looks like Kimbo at the moment is going to struggle to find the same success he had on Fabi.
He could kind of do what he wanted when he looked at Fabi, you know, because he had players to kind of match and maybe even, it's fair to say, beyond him, kind of just raw slaying power across the board. And then you just see Kimbo just doing his own thing. He'd have a sniper rifle, he'd have a fuel rod, and he'd be able just to lock down a little area and just be really happy and then rack up some serious kills off the back of what his team were doing. Definitely, we've got to be honest here, the slaying power of that team, what he's on, is not to the standard of what Fabi was. So I agree, he needs to find a different position.
It's going to be a lot harder for him. He's going to have to work a lot harder. And what worries me is there's not really a leader as such on that Infused lineup. If you're looking at them, you're saying, who's your leader? I mean, maybe looking at Havoc because he coached Fab last season, but there doesn't seem to be one individual who is going to be confident enough to call the shots. Perhaps Batchford, perhaps he's stepping up to that role.
We can't really kind of jump the gun just yet, though. I mean, we've had one game, and it was Truth capture the flag. Going into Truth Slayer, obviously, goes without saying, very different game type. On capture the flag, you spawn on one side of the map, and then you just kind of have to work from there. On Slayer, the spawns are a little bit more fluid, so maybe there's a few more opportunities here and there for Kimbo to try and make a play for himself to get that fuel rod, and then maybe make some plays for his team further down the line. So let's not write off Kimbo just yet, boys. This one game of the Pro League, I know I was the one quick to write him off, but if he can bounce back in this one, then maybe Infused have a chance of coming back in this series.
He needs the fuel rod. I think Kimbo is a good enough player to just grab one of those rifles. I'd like him to take the initiative and say, I forget the fuel rod. I know people think I'm good with the fuel rod.
Yeah.
Forget the power weapons. Just give me a battle rifle.
I'm still quite stunned that Harry decided to actually try and defend somebody for once rather than just constantly laying into people from behind the controller.
New year, new me. I know it's like, what, September? It's the end of September, but, you know, I'm a late bloomer. What can I say?
New year, new me.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years, my friend, but it's still not happened.
New season, new sass.
This guy.
Lit. It's certainly lit. As you can see there, we're going to remind you guys every single time the tickets are on sale. If you want to come and join us here in the studio, if you want to see all the action going live, eventually we'll be able to get you a shot of the studio when it's all lit up. It looked amazing last at the season finals. I've got to give a big shout out to the production of the team in the background.
They did. Okay. No, it was great. It's good. No, he looked really good. Buy tickets.
Tim, just turn his mic off and just let him sit in a corner and control his own thing, to be honest. Oh, actually, Tim doesn't do sound. He's not good enough for sound. He has to press his little button. Sorry about that, Tim. But yeah, if you want to come down, you want to join us, you want to meet the players, you want to get some food, drinks, whatever, and just watch some fantastic Halo action, tickets are on sale there. You got the link at the bottom. Go on and get them reserved. There are a limited amount, and I must say they're already selling. I think we've already got about 20 of them on the board, and we haven't even advertised them, so happy, happy days. We are just getting this second lobby up and running. Hopefully not too long. Apologies for the delay. But let's have a quick talk more so about Vibe. And obviously we're talking a lot about Kimbo and a lot about Infused. Dan, I want to start with you. Put everything aside, and I just want you to look at the players, okay? Player to player, do you think this is a team that can take down Fabi? Because this is, for me, still the #1 point of this Pro League. Are you good enough to take down Fabi?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think Vibe can definitely ask some questions of Fab. I think Fab lost out with the change from Kimbo to Jimbo.
Really?
Not because I don't think that Jimbo is a worse player. I don't think Kimbo is a better player. I both think they are equally good in their own ways. But I just think if it's not broke, why are you trying to fix it? I mean, they went the whole season without losing a series. These guys were absolutely phenomenal. And okay, maybe they're looking towards America. Maybe they're thinking, right, how are we going to beat these American teams once Worlds come along? And perhaps that's the reason for the Jimbo change. But I haven't seen these guys in action as enough to kind of say that they are as good as the last Fab squad, but I definitely think Vibe could compete with them this season.
And I like what you touched on there, because I was speaking to Respectful the other day, and he says that's kind of now, with matchmaking and with these players, that's kind of what happens next. And we all know that this is what happens next. After Pro League, we then start looking towards Worlds. These European teams will be looking towards those American teams, and the biggest question on everyone's lips is, can Europe take top 8 once again? But you know what? Less about that. We'll talk about that a lot later on down the line of the year. Let's talk about game #2. It's Vibe taking on Infused. This is Truth Slayer. Vibe taking capture the flag on Slayer quite respectfully. And now, 2-0 up. We got some power weapon control. We got some camo control. Let's see what happens. Batchford hanging outside on the carbine.
Yeah, this was the start that Infused needed last game, and I like the position, the route. Sorry, I went into America. The route that Batchford took there, just to make sure he could shut down anyone going towards that camo. And what? Kimbo does have the camo. He's going to be able to do some damage with it. Snaky almost replies well, but a great double kill. And this is a good early lead from Infused. Now they need to make sure they get those rifles and they start securing this map and not allow Vibe an inch in this game.
Ooh, he turned around the wrong point. Will turn face, though, almost on Septic. Septic says not today. Will shut him down instantly. Gets his shields back. Looks straight across the carbine. We're going to see Batchford drilling his face with the carbine from that position. He is forced to drop down, though. Cristola's there. Cristola will get cleaned up by Havoc, though. He's hanging around in the opposing window. He's got Flux to give him some support if anybody wants to challenge it. Septic will pre-nade. However, he's in a bit of a dangerous spot. Grenades come in from across that. We'll see Havoc finishing him off, so now the Fuel Rod will transition into the hands of Team Infused.
Yeah, it will, and just adding to all more pressure that they already have on this map. You can already see that Vibe are locked into this base now, and Vibe need to find a way to get out. They need to fight out together, but it's difficult to fight out when you have a man running around with a sword, slashing you in the back every time you even think of making a move. I love how Infused have just swarmed in there. They've just pincered the team, not allowed them to even make a move out of that base.
Yeah, this is absolutely perfect. I mean, Batchford with the perfect flank there with the sword. I mean, he flushed them out of the base, and the players with the rifles holding down the towers just picked off the players that were pushing out. Kimbo will go down, so that gives a bit of an opportunity here for Vibe to get a little bit more map control, which is good, because look at the score right now. Yes, what, they're down by 7? That's good for them, because in that kind of situation where Infused had that map control, they had the rifles, and Batchford here, yes, he still does have the sword, but he was flanking bases. It's good that they stopped that early. Now they're only down by 6, rather than down by double digits.
Oh, how does Septic get away with that one? Manages to stay alive, and then Batchford gets cleaned up by the evil eye of Snakey. Septic will finally drop down, but one thing to mention about Batch, what he just did with that sword, he realized, all right, I'm in a really bad position here, top mid. I'm just open to die. He just dropped down and steamboated back into his own base to try and stay alive, which he did. We're going to see a Fuel Rod coming over. I think that was from Kimbo. Kimbo then seals up Cristola with the ground pound, 6-kill lead, 9:30 remaining on the clock. And honestly, Infused now look exactly like what Vibe did in the previous one. You know, that they're applying the pressure quite easily to Vibe. We're going to see a double kill coming out of Snipe Drone, I believe, unless that grenade's just going to clean him up.
Wow.
Flux, please. Oh, no. There's the killing spree and the reversal as well.
Great movement from Snipe Drone there, just making sure he stays alive. If Flux had pushed in a little bit sooner, he might have been able to kill him, but I think what Infused are doing well is they're taking advantage when they do have that map control. They're pushing in, they're pincering, they're making sure they get the kills whilst they're able to. This map sometimes goes back and forth. One team will have control. It's who can get more kills whilst they do have that control. And then you'll get to that last bit of the game where it starts to get a little bit panicky when it starts to slow down.
See Snipe Drone drop to his knees and just hope that anybody wants to walk up and take a challenge of him over here. A couple of grenades are going to come in. You need to be extremely careful. Don't get tagged up by them and release the hit marker so they know where you are. He will unfortunately go out into the open. That's Kimbo and Flux straight onto him, snapping him across the map. Down he goes. We'll move across to Flux now, who doesn't need any help. He gets the call from Batchford. Batchford will seal the deal on Snake. Septic's also caught off guard bottom mid. He goes down. Will turn face. The grenade was there, but look at this support. He hasn't got any kills really as Flux, but the last 3 ones he's been supported by his teammates who are just up high. The map position now from Infused is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and this is actually really dangerous here for Vibe. They're spawning at the carbine, but that camouflage is coming up within the next 20-odd seconds as well. So they need to rotate around into a base, which is exactly what they're doing right now, and try and get a little bit of pink tower control. Septic here is actually being really sneaky behind the Infused players. He's going to see Batchford look at this patience. Absolutely perfect. Waits until he can't retreat, and surely he will finish off Batchford. Will he? Septic, please?
What? No.
Either way, we'll swap over to Cristola, who, again, as I said before, trying to get control of that pink tower because that camouflage is coming up. But right now, it looks as if it's going to be Septic versus Havoc to go head-to-head. In the end, Septic says, you know what, I'm going to burn it.
Havoc with a big swing will take him down indeed. So that one's going to be burnt. Still a 7-kill lead here for Infused. Make that 8 now. They're holding on to it. Even if, I know, don't get me wrong, it's still not a massive lead, but they've kept it throughout this game. It's kind of been that point. I think it was 6-3 to start off with. They doubled the scoreline, and then it's kind of sat around this 5 to 6 kill lead throughout the entirety of the game. Snipe Drone's got a nice amount of ammo in this Fuel Rod. He will get called out. His teammate's asking for some support, but his teammate does actually get taken down. That's Batchford wiping out Septic. Now, once again, they're all trapped inside this base. They're crouching down, nowhere really to go. Cristola, though, is going to go push in hard. Look at his POV. Can he get this kill? Yes, he can. Whips out the BR, gets the Protector medal as well. And now looking at the kill feed, we'll see Vibe racking up 2. Flux comes back with a double kill as well. Snakey will answer Flux back and take him down. Cristola, I mean, every time, I'm just looking at this kill feed, it's all the action seems to be going on there rather than the POV. We're almost seeing double kill after double kill, answering back and forth. 25 to 31, still that decent scoreline there, and really just keeping comfortable, I want to say, for Infused. Not a lot to worry about, no pressure, just keep doing what you're doing and playing your game.
Yeah, and Vibe just needs to be careful of Flux at the moment, because Flux was kind of running around. It almost felt like he was just playing free-for-all, but he was playing free-for-all with 3 other guns shooting everything that he targeted. You could clearly see that he was just saying, look, this is what I'm targeting now, this is what I'm shooting. If you guys can finishing everything off for me, then we're going to be in a good position. But now we just see only a 2-kill lead for Infused, so a very important sweep there for Vibe. They managed to get 4 down for Infused, and they're finding their way back into this game. They're going to have the battle rifles, they're going to have the carbines, they're going to have all the instruments they need to win this game. It's going to be how Infused are going to respond, and Infused just need to make sure they don't get picked off so easily. They need to group together, push together to try and take down this Vibe dominant setup.
How does this happen? How do you go from holding an 8-kill lead the entirety of the game, and then all of a sudden you're down by one within just as many kills?
Well, it comes from, again, as I said, Vibe keeping it so close, shutting down that dominance, that map dominance, excuse me, that Infused had. They had the rifles, they had the map control, they had Batchwood roaming with a sword, and Vibe, they stopped it when, excuse me, Infused only had a 6-kill lead. So now with the shoe on the other foot, with Vibe having that rifle control, with Cristola with the sword, let's see how they can escalate into more of a lead. This could be an absolute telling point. Vibe completely outplaying Infused at their own game if it goes this way until the end of the game.
I kind of want to answer my own question here. When I say how does it happen, I still think that when you look at Vibe in comparison to Infused, it's to do with, you know, oh, is that going to be a triple? No, he's going to run away from it, unfortunately for him. But you got to have a look at how much experience on this roster in comparison. Fair enough, there's some older players there, but they know how to get things done. They know, like, all right, we're in trouble now. Let's stop messing around. Let's shut this one down. 43 to 36, 44 now. It's a completely different scoreline. It's literally flipped on its head in 20 kills.
Well, I said it's one of those games where you just really need to take advantage when you do have that map control. Infused just got maybe a 6-kill lead, but we can already see Vibe have made an 8-kill lead here. So they've really just taken advantage of the map control. They said, look, we just need to fight back stronger. We need to make sure we push for these kills, especially towards the end of the game. We can make sure Infused start to panic, which will naturally give us some extra kills anyway.
So far, I've seen that kill feed just be completely lit with Snakey every single time. Snakey, Snakey, Snakey. Seen so many kills coming out of him. We'll see what it's like at the end of it. Only 2 more kills now, and they have really turned up the heat. Vibe turning things around. Batchford's going to go one-on-one. We'll see Snakey flying through the air. He'll put it between his eyeballs and finish that one off 50 to 38. Some happy teabagging on the floor. Honestly, did not expect that to happen whatsoever.
It was just a great job out of Vibe, just making the advantage count when they had it. I think you touched upon it absolutely perfectly in the cast down. Infused, they had everything going in their favor. They only got a 6-kill lead out of it, and then look at the end of the game. 50 to 38, the final score. And I believe Infused had around 36 kills when they still had the lead, or something like that. Maybe I just made that up. I think it was 32, something like that. They were in the 30s when they had the lead, and Vibe still managed to come back and win the game 50 to 38. That's fantastic. I want to give a massive shout out to Septic, excuse me, if I can. When we were sticking with Flux through the death screen and checking the scoreboard, he only had 3 kills. At the end of the game, he ended up with 9 and 10 assists. So a great job by him turning his individual performance around and turn his team's fortunes around as well.
Now, I'm not sure if it was just Infused not making the most of their advantage, but Vibe making sure they couldn't make the most of their advantage. Yeah. They made sure they slowed it down. They said, look, there's no reason we keep pushing out, because if we do just keep pushing out, we're just going to add to their kills. We're going to make this a harder game to get back into. They slowed it down. They chose their opportunities perfectly. They waited for that map control. They waited for those power-ups, those weapons to spawn, and that's when they made their move. So a crazy kind of performance from Vibe there to come back into that one.
You mentioned about, you know, looking at Septic, fair enough, not up there with the likes of the killing when you're on the feed, essentially, with Cristola, but I really think he comes into his own when you have a look and you listen to him, how he controls that team. Okay, this is what we need to do. Let's do it, boys. This is how it works out. And in terms of what he adds to that team, all right, the kill feed when it comes to Septic does not tell the story whatsoever. He's a natural leader. He's incredible. He knows what needs to be done. And his voice, especially in moments like that where it's like, all right, we're getting beat by quite a lot. What do we need to do? Listen up.
Yeah, I think that experience actually really helps Vibe out, because an interesting dynamic about the Vibe team at the moment, with Cristola and Snipe Drone coming in, they're kind of star players. Now Septic is moving back from that kind of star player role. Yes, he has the individual talent to be a star player, but he can kind of move backwards into more of a supportive role, like near kind of Septic, near Snakey level. So Snakey and Septic, pressure is off their shoulders. We know Cristola and Snipe Drone are going to go off in every single game. If Septic and Snakey can just be consistent, that's all they need to do, and have the odd star performance, then Vibe can be a very dangerous team this season. I mean, just look at the score so far: 3-0, 50 to 38. Just impressive so far on Truth. Let's see what they can do in a different arena next on Plaza Strongholds.
Looking rather purple as we see the Vibe logo hanging across the first 2 games. Now we're moving into Plaza Strongholds. Dan, I want to grab your initial thoughts then. How exactly? Because I've unfortunately seen Team Infused get 99'd come back on this one and get 100, and I've seen it happen a few times. Harry's got a little bit of a dodgy face, but before we go to Harry's stats, how are you feeling about Infused going into this one?
This was the one objective game type that Infused did win at Summer Finals. I know they're a different team, but that does say something, especially about Bachelor and Flux, so perhaps this is a game type that they favour. I think if they can keep this game type scrappy and just keep in the face of Vibe, not allow Vibe to set up and get into that position where they're really going to dominate, really going to get ahead, then maybe Infused could get into this one.
Yeah, maybe. My dodgy face, by the way, was just...
Yeah, maybe.
You have to know by now, I don't listen to anything either of you say. I'm just here in my own little bubble.
What?
My face... I just have a...
Hi, mate.
Hi, mate. You're right, mate.
How's it going, mate?
Yeah,
mate,
you know. So what do you think of this then,
Master Chief, you're right, mate.
Welcome to the George is moving the stuff again, guys.
I'm sorry. Hey, George, please, I'm sorry.
We do have a tweet in there. Good to hear. Sims, Gaskin, and I'm not even going to mention his name. Again, game 5 for the win for Vibe. Thank you, Booker D, very, very much. One of my subs as well. Shout out to Booker D. He's the man. We appreciate it. But yeah, it's good to be back in the seat. We hope you guys are at home enjoying this as much as we are. Harry's no longer part of the team. He can sit there with Chief and enjoy himself on the end. But do you want to cast for him? Is that going to be an easy one?
And then it's my job anyway. I'll just make sure I just mute him every time that I want to talk. And that's absolutely fine. And he can't do anything. If I hold this
control your controls, mate. You just do the POVs. Can he not?
No, he can't do anything.
Oh, look at him. He's frozen. He's like a robot. Harry.
This is bullying.
Harry.
This is actual bullying.
It's not bullying.
Okay, let's get your opinion then.
My mum.
What do you think about Plaza Strongholds, Harry?
No, don't talk to me. Just don't talk to me.
Okay, we don't care about his opinion.
Fair
But I
enough,
think Infused have got a chance in this one. They just need to make it a little bit scrappy. They need to get, I don't know, just take it to Vibe. Don't let Vibe come back like they did. You don't want to get into a position where you just give away a lead like that. That actually might play on in their heads. They might kind of be thinking, okay, we probably had that game. What did we do wrong? Don't even think about what you did wrong. Focus on the next game.
Plaza Strongholds is another one of those game types that definitely changed from Worlds throughout Season 1. From Worlds early on, especially in Europe, we kind of saw teams just be really happy with that nest and bottom middle stronghold, right? That kind of dominant setup and just allow just 1 point every 3 or so seconds. Now we're seeing teams actually go for that stranglehold, that vice grip, actually pinning teams in the yard, slaying them out, and then getting the yard as well. I just love the way that Halo 5's metagame is evolving, because we're seeing just more changes, just subtle changes within the game types to just make being more aggressive a lot more of a beneficial strategy, and I think Plaza Strongholds is definitely one of the game types that's benefited from that.
And it's having one of those players that's more than happy to flank around, to be that nuisance, to kind of just sit in a stronghold, wait, maybe sacrifice a death just to try and lure that team back in, get them out of their comfort zone, make sure they don't have any map control. And there are a couple of players on that Infused lineup that can do that. Batchford can do that, Flux can do that, so I'm going to be looking at those two to make a big impact on this game.
And of course, this kind of just goes for Strongholds as a whole, as a game type. It's all about that triple cap. Push it, push it, push it. Grab it, grab it, grab it. I want to say it's kind of swings and roundabouts. You know, with someone like Team Infused, they could be really, really good at it. They could just push, just be super scrappy, just get stuck in there. We all know Havoc loves a good one-on-one, a good scrap. He'll dive straight in there and he'll challenge it.
He's always down for a scrap.
that'll play to their advantage. But with someone like Vibe, with the slaying power that's on there, it's pretty dangerous. And I think this is in their hands, to be honest with you.
And there's a sniper on this map.
There is not on Stronghold.
No, there's not a sniper. There's a sniper on Plaza.
Yeah.
Not on Stronghold.
You did say map though,
yeah.
so we'll give you that. You did say game
type.
type.
Fine. What's the game type? Oh, Plaza Stronghold.
Oh yeah, Stronghold's not Slayer.
No, not a sniper on
see,
this map.
See, I got you, brother.
We could have another kind of like, what are you saying?
Nothing.
Okay, all right. We could have another like Pulse versus Prophecy situation. Stop looking at me like that. Where Prophecy kind of really underestimated the individual skill of Pulse, like in the Plaza games that we saw in the first series earlier on in the broadcast. Infused can't do that because we know Vibe's individual talent is just off the charts, and likewise Vibe can't do that against Infused, because on Plaza Strongholds, when a team gets an advantage, they get that nest and they get that bottom middle, they get you pinned in the yard. If they slay you out, they're going for that triple cap. Every top team in Europe now knows that the triple cap is the best way to do it, because not only do you force the other team to basically play off of a spawn, you also just escalate into a lead so quickly. If the other team is scrambling around, like fanning about and just wondering what to do, then you're just going to constantly keep getting those 2 points every 3 or so seconds. It's just going to be great for your team, because you're just going to get such a big lead. And in some cases, as we've seen in the past last season, that lead can become unsurmountable later on in the game.
Well, we are just waiting on one player to dive into the lobby. Hopefully not too long, guys. We do apologise about the wait. But for all the North American Pro League so far, we are into week number 3, which will be starting tonight, over to Mr. Elamite, as he does not enjoy being called. And, of course, Tom Savage Taylor, as he's been known as the last few weeks. All the VODs, everything you want to watch, proleague.com/Halo. It's all up there. All the team profiles, all the guys' Twitches, Twitters, YouTubes, all their team profiles that you want, anything that you need about any of the players, and of course, every single match-by-match VOD will be all uploaded to proleague.com/Halo. It's where you want to go if you want to get any information. Of course, ticket sales are all up there as well, so if you want to drop by, buy your tickets, feel free to do so. Also, again, we do apologise about this minor delay.
Can I just say, I'm still absolutely flabbergasted at the Optic Gaming announcent. Did you watch the vision?
Oh, we hadn't even really spoke about this yet.
This is a big
this is
yeah,
new
we haven't spoken
for
about
us
this yet.
because, you know, we were a couple of weeks late to the party. But
how do you go from 0 to 100 that quick?
I tell you what, though, Optic know how to market a team. I mean, that was just perfect. They knew, like, so many thousands of people were going to be watching the vision, and what a great way to announce it. Just, like, right at the end of the video, just like, don't worry. We got this.
And then they already got beat. Sorry.
Savage.
Sorry, I have to put it out there. Well, you know what? While we're waiting on this one, let's have a quick chat about the North American Pro League. Yeah. One thing that is really annoying me, and I don't say annoying me because it's not really an issue, but how unlucky Allegiance have been so far. Allegiance is amazing. It's an amazing roster. These Game 5s that they're getting into, I don't think that 7th place where they are at the moment justifies how damn good that team is.
And it's so demoralising as well when you're going tooth and nail every single series and you're just get pipped at the post at the very last game. That's got to be so demoralising, but they can't get their heads down because they are such a talented team, and the fact that they're pushing these teams to Game 5s, they can't quite pull it out in the end. That's something they can work on. That's, you know, something that you just have to say, you know what, next time, if we get enough experience in Game 5s, eventually we're going to win one, right?
We'll get there
eventually. We'll get one on the board. But
like we saw from Vibe last season, right? I mean, even if you think you're dead and out, there is still a chance to get back, and if anyone can do it, I think Allegiance are going to be able to pick themselves up. I think they will find those victories eventually.
I think, can we also give a big shout out to Maniac as well? He's obviously announced his retirement. Mr. Nick Kershaw is a proper decent guy. I spoke to him a few times at events. It's a shame to see him leave the scene. He's doing amazing stuff on his YouTube channel, so make sure you check him out and follow him on Twitter. But he's going to be hanging up the sticks, and that's obviously going to be like.
You can tell Harry's still at university because he still wears his little festival bands. Can I just?
It's Freshers Fortnite, okay? This.
You can't take it off.
No, I can't. It's still Freshers. What am I
I love it how you just
if I weren't getting free in all these nightclubs,
it's kind
talking
of
about a legendary Halo player, and then you just come in.
I was tapping the desk to say I want to talk next, and then he's like playing with my wristband.
It hit me a few times. I just had to kind of.
No, what? No, I'm in my hand like.
Anyway,
you guys are just
enough
bullying
about
me.
Freshers.
What I was going to say,
Sorry,
Maniac. Let me get this back on track, okay?
Bring this train on track, Harry.
Is Maniac, Noble Black? Stop! Don't even go for it. Stop it. Maniac, Noble Black.
Yes.
Was it Season 2 finals for Halo 2 Anniversary or Season 1 at PAX East, wasn't it? The one that you flew out to.
Yeah.
What was it? Versus CLG. He played absolutely lights out in that series. There were so many game, whatever it was, the Shrine Slayer.
7 repeats, I think we had.
Yeah, something like that. I always remember Maniac just pulling his team through almost every single time. And it's a shame to see him hang up the sticks, but like you said, he's making some YouTube content, and he seems to be happy with it. He's putting some good content out, so
BTH.
We've got to respect, the decision.
Never forget. Hey, sometimes things happen. Comes to best of us. Look at us. We've already. Well,
I was going to say he joins the greats like Ogre 2, like Sims,
Gaskin.
Gaskin. Golden Boy.
Golden Boy. Can't bring in Alex Mendez. He's too busy playing Halo 4 and asking for Dominion, unfortunately, is Alex still.
Dominion.
Do you remember that? Alex is a big Dominion fan. You ever get in a conversation, Alex, bring up Dominion.
You know what's funny? I played so many games in the Dominion playlist to try and get a set of armor that I wanted, and I never got it. You know the UNSC commendations where you had to kill a certain amount of people with like the railgun and the saw and stuff? I was sweating Dominion because there were so many like little weapons around the map.
It's all about Warzone now, mate. The Warzone. You can't even. Did I just hear a cool story, bro? My ears.
Yeah.
Did you all just get that as well?
Yeah,
listen.
Thanks for production for just
Clearly production
even laying into us when we're trying to get some time here for you guys in the background and help you all out.
Yeah. We won't stall. We'll just sit here in silence.
No, we'll just keep it now. We wasn't really arguing amongst himself in the background. But yeah, no, obviously Maniac hanging at the pad. It's sad times. But Optic Gaming now, they're definitely the team to look at and the team to be looking forward. Obviously, it used to be CLG. Shout out to CLG as well. They did amazing things for the Halo scene. So it's obviously a big loss, but Optic Gaming, man, it's a big gain as well, picking up that roster. But shout out to CLG. Hopefully we see them in the near future once again. But when you look at that and we speak about the other teams, Evil Geniuses, NV, everything, and I mean everything over in North America has just got better. Yeah. It's insane, and looking forward to Worlds, that's going to be wild, man. That is going to be a wild event.
Weren't CLG in the HCS from the start? Like from the very start? I remember being at a Master Chief Collection launch event and hearing the news on my phone that CLG, Counter Logic Gaming, had picked up a team for Halo. And I'm pretty sure the Halo Championship Series hadn't even been announced yet.
No, it hadn't, because we also, I'm sure it happened with Evil Genius, because we were at an event. We were running an event. We were casting an event. Because I had to go onto Halo Forum and actually upload the latest news and do it all from there. So yeah, no, it's a long-term. It's a big loss, but it's a long-term thing. So thank you for all their many years of dedication to the Halo Championship Series. Again, we do hope we see them once again. But everyone's kind of at the moment sitting quite solid. It's only X-Men that really need to get a team behind them. You know, looking forward to seeing if anyone picks up those boys. Because at the end of the day, there is some, no matter what we say about them, there is some serious talent on that roster.
Oh, there is. I mean, Chalky and Ramirez have been attending like 30, I think they've attended like 35 or something events together. I mean, they are just an unbelievable duo. We saw the crazy things that Chalky did during MCC. He went over to America. He made a name for himself. There's definitely going to be organisations that will be interested. It's just them picking one that is the right fit for them.
I think I'm most looking forward to seeing this new X-Men team purely because of Anima. I mean, I've heard so many disgusting things about Anima in the past and so many whispers around the community, even going back to when I was playing, like back in Halo 4. That's how far back we're going, boys. But this is the first time we're really going to see Anima on like the biggest stage. I mean, this is his time to shine. He has the next 5 weeks to put on a show and stake his claim to being one of the best players in Europe, and hopefully he lives up to the mantle that he's been given by his peers, because everyone's just talking about him throughout Halo 4, throughout H2A. Anima, this guy from Germany who I had never even heard of before, was just ripping people up at LANs and MCC and stuff.
The unfortunate thing is for him, and because we saw him just throwing when we were looking at the German qualifier, he was just lobbing 40 bombs all around. They obviously knocked out the, was it the Fabi roster where Moz were actually on it at the time with Speed? They actually knocked that one out at a certain time, because that was an unexpected loss. But with Anima, every time we've then seen him at LAN, it's not kind of transitioned. They went to X Games, they got trashed. They went to the European regional finals, got trashed. Unfortunately, they've not had the best run. Online looks amazing. His individual performance, out of this world, but he's so far yet to kind of get to that next part. But less about that, guys. We do have Game 3 now live. Strongholds on Plaza. First to 100 points to win. It's Team Vibe taking on Team Infused. Here we go then, rock and roll. Apologies for the delay, and thank you very much for bearing with us on the POV of Cristola.
Yeah, and I just want to see now Infused just really take it to Vibe nice and early, and we will see the camo actually be picked up, but he's going to go down straight away, so that's unfortunate for Kimbo. He's not going to be able to make any sort of crazy plays with that camouflage just yet, as Cristola is going to get this bottom mid almost uncontested. Flux is just going to fly in and get eaten up by that Storm Rifle, and so will Havoc as well.
Yeah, these are the kind of plays that people were talking about Cristola making. This is the kind of firepower he brings. He basically got bottom middle by himself and then got 2 kills back to back as well. Great smart decision making right here. He says, you know what, I'm not going to jump into a load of players. I've still got my health, I've still got my life, still got the Storm Rifle, and we still have all 3 strongholds. No reason for me to die there, and he's still just racking up the kills.
It's like some out of Ghostbusters. He's literally just running in there with the plasma and absolutely annihilating people. Was that a killing spree, or did I actually just miss that? I could be making that one up, but certainly he is rocking and rolling with the kills in the bag. And then all of a sudden we see Septic on the flank. He's got 3 players there, 2 of them are no shield. Finally Havoc's got it back. He's going to try and answer back with this Storm Rifle. He's been killed by it enough times But you know what? Septic's saying no, so he's going to crouch around. But look at that. Snipe John comes in, helps his teammate out. All three of them collapse into the hill. There's the yard.
And the beautiful thing about that Septic flank is the fact that, yes, Infused, they got that yard stronghold, but they couldn't do anything with it. They couldn't push out. They couldn't push to the cafe because they still had that thorn in their side in Septic. And now he can defend the yard. They still have the triple cap. This is absolute dominance here from Vibe.
And I think this is what you were talking about. This is the main change that we've seen across Plaza Strongholds. Usually you would see teams just allow them to stay in yard like that, but they were more than happy to push in. And now we just see that Infused have to try and get this yard back to get any sort of control on this map, because at the moment they're spawning in Cafe and they can't get out of Cafe either, because Vibe have just got such control of this map. Camouflage will be coming up soon as well, which will just add extra firepower to this squad.
This is a slaughter. Havoc will come up. Finally, they do take down Cristola. But as soon as they do, there is no breathing room whatsoever. This is the one thing I'm taking from this game so far. Every time they try and do something, they get answered back and it gets turned around every single time. Every push they make is shut down. Every time they move together as a team, they get split up. And the spawns are just not doing them any good whatsoever, because we have, obviously, Vibe at the time getting in the right place to force them into a corner. We'll see Snipe Drone try and take back bottom mid. He will opt to try and bail out. That's going to be Havoc and, of course, Flux. They will take him down. They do have 2 plots on the map, and now we see some points coming on the board. But you know what? 57-9. I don't want to say the damage has been done, but there's certainly a bit of a mountain to climb.
Kimbo's managed to get both camouflages. We saw him then, but he got taken down by an SMG. He's not been able to make any plays with the camo at all. He's been running away from his team, saying, okay, I'm going to try and do something. I'm going to try and force some players out so we can get some map control here. But he's just shut down immediately. I don't know whether Vibe are specifically targeting Kimbo. They're saying we can't let him get out of control here, but at the moment, Kimbo just can't get a look into this game.
Yeah, that was actually a great opportunity there for Infused to try and claw back their way into this game. Yes, it's 60-16. They still have a lot of time left to play with in this game, but in Strongholds, the points are constantly ticking. They had the Nest, they had the bottom middle. Yes, they do, have 2 Strongholds at the moment, but when they had Nest and bottom middle, they needed to slay out Vibe and they needed to push the yard just as Vibe did to them. They weren't able to do that. Vibe got kills on the board, and now we're about to see another triple cap in favor of Vibe, but oh no, someone's contested the yard. It's going to be Flux against Snaky. Flux gets the reset and the kill. Snaky goes down. Still life left for Infused.
Huge kill coming out of Flux there. He needed to get that one and stop the bleeding, which they have done, but they are still seeping out just a very little amount. Flux is going to try and get bottom mid. He is on white cat. He does stay alive. Cristola's going to come and try and finish it off. Flux, though, right now doing some amazing work. Havoc's going to come in there. A third player as well. Now they've got the triple cap. Now they've flipped it on the head. They've completely stopped the bleeding. They are now racking up some serious points, but 72-25. Anything is possible in Strongholds. That's the one thing you need to keep in your mind. Fair enough, you're down. Don't let it get to you. This is a very rubber band game type, and anything can happen.
But look at the difference. They had total control, and then you saw Kimbo try and push into yard to do exactly what Vibe were doing, but he got shut down immediately. Vibe were just targeting any players that came into that yard a lot better than when Infused were, and it allowed Vibe to push out. I know Flux is doing crazy things down bottom mid, but it's not going to be enough. His Vibe should be able to get this bottom mid as well.
Yeah, and the fact that Infused didn't have any flankers going into the yard while all of Vibe were going to get the yard, I think that just allowed Vibe to get themselves back into contention of map control at the moment. I'm seeing a lot of Infused members at the moment are currently on the death screen, but this is a 3rd camo in a row now for Kimbo, and he's been doing great work timing this power up. This could be a huge play. If he can contest this and keep this alive, then it could have been great for his team, but he does surrender the stronghold. Not sure if that was the wisest decision. He's going for a triple here. He does in fact get it, but again, it's Infused. They are currently not on the board, about to start scoring now, Sims.
Yeah, and they could have actually, I would have, me personally, preferred them. Fair enough, they got bottom mid, but it would have been nice to have somebody over at yard at least ready to defend. Kimbo knew where they were going to be spawning. You could see a look down there. You can kind of get it. When you're predicting where people are, you kind of know where they're going to be spawning from where you're set up in comparison to it. But nobody, absolutely nobody, was watching that yard. If they would have had somebody at yard, oof. Going to be Cristola just sticking a shotgun in Kimbo's jawline. But when you kind of look at that one, if they would have had someone at yard, they could have either had the triple cap and continued racking up a lot more points faster than what they are doing, or they could at least put pressure on them to stop it.
Yeah, it was very worrying for Vibe at the moment, the fact that they're being allowed to take the yard, but the fact they can't really do much with it. I mean, yes, they just did take the Nest as well as the yard, but as we're seeing now, the Nest has just been secured in favor of Infused. 2 of the Infused players actually tried flanking the yard, just as Vibe did to Infused earlier on in the game, but Vibe were very quick to shut them down. I'm very surprised Vibe weren't able to capitalize off of those 2 kills, and right here we're seeing Infused getting themselves right back in this game.
Yeah, there's 3 players going to be in that yard. They're going to challenge Flux. Flux is on his own, though. Can he land the 5? It's snaky. No, he don't get the 5, but he gets the 6 at least. There's the headshot, and down he goes. 2 more players. It's going to be Batchford giving him some support. 3 players, though, steamboating into yard. This is great for Infused because they can call this out. They can slay them, slap them, then get the yard. Or if anything, at least just keep them here, keep them away from the other 2 plots, and keep getting the points.
Yeah, but fortunately, Vibe were too strong there. They all pushed in the correct position. They managed to trade 2 for 1, but the rest of the Infused boys were waiting there bottom mid, and now Infused are doing the right things. This is exactly what Vibe were doing to Infused earlier. Batchford now is going to be that nuisance player that was talking out before this game started. He is now going to force Vibe to come back towards this yard. You see Snaky making his move, just making his presence known there, Batchford, but Snipe Drone is going to try and maybe get some map presence here because they can't just go for that yard constantly, otherwise they are just going to fall into the same trap that Infused did.
Yeah, Grenades going in thick and fast, he instantly gets shut down. Now they're going to spawn down there at that loop area. They're going to push into yard, but you know what? Look at how many plots are getting turned around. They're going to try and stop one of them, but all of a sudden, where's the lead gone? You know, they had triple cap into triple cap. That's, I mean, how do you let that happen? This is the same thing as the previous matchup. They're losing. Everything slips away from them.
Incredible how the Vibe just kind of broke off and they were able to take those 1v2 situations. They were able to push into those crooks and crannies and make sure they could stay alive and get those strongholds. But they are only 3 points away, and this looks like it might be too much for Infused. And Snipe Drone is just going to try and stay alive and do what he can to secure this bottom mid.
That's a little bit heartbreaking in some sense because I thought they were generally going to win that. They had a really good setup about them. I honestly thought that that wouldn't be happening. They were down 72 to something ridiculous at the start. They brought it back to 82 points. So, you know, they tried hard, they played well, but unfortunately they just could not seal the deal when it mattered most. And we will see Team Infused, unfortunately, going down 3-0 in the series for their first loss of the fall season. Harry, run us through the kill feed.
Great slaying work out of Snaky. We didn't really see too much of his point of view, but he was actually the top slayer in the game. 18. Cristola was up there with him, 17 kills for him. And you got to say, Havoc, 8 kills. It's not really good enough. They did kind of pull a resurgence back towards the end of the game, but when you're only player in this game with like single-digit kills, it's certainly not helping his team out enough. You've got to say, maybe if Havoc could win a couple more individual battles, if maybe he could have gotten a couple more kills here and there, then maybe that could have been the difference here and there between Total Control and the double cap that they had for a lot of the game. We saw Infused. They allowed Vibe. I'm not sure whether they allowed Vibe to push the yard and take it back constantly, or whether Vibe were just too strong in their pushes back for the yard. I'm not sure entirely what happened there, but either way, Vibe did a great job of getting the yard back and then using that as a springboard going forward. Yes, they allowed Infused back into the game in some stages, but Strongholds is a very momentum-based game, and you've got to say, Vibe did a very good job in the end, keeping their composure and just keeping things going.
Difference maker was that Vibe, when they spawned in Cafe, they were more than happy not to go back to that yard. Instead, they pushed around to Nest, and we saw Snipe Drone take that position, take that S4 position, and that really helped them get back into the game. They were able to then start securing all of the strongholds. But I mean, that's a first series loss for Kimbo in Pro League ever.
Wow.
I mean, that's going to be hard to take.
And I thought I was the stat man. Am I right, guys?
That is, yeah, that's a really good shout.
Stole my thunder. What?
I didn't actually think of it that way. Yeah, that's his first in the entirety since he's been in it from the very start. That's the very first loss.
That's
so
deep.
Going to be a little bit disappointing for him, especially. I mean, I say disappointing. It is disappointing, I suppose, to any team when they lose a match like that. That's so important. But we're getting to the point where these teams really want to kind of, you know, stamp their place in Pro League and stamp their place early on and say, this is who we are, this is what we do. And as we can see there, fair enough, the first game was definitely a whitewash. It was a very quick 3-0. Game 2, it was in the hands of Infused. Unfortunately, they let it slip away. That ended 50-38. Now, the Plaza Strongholds, they were down by a hell of a lot of points, and they were looking to win it. It's the same incidents as the previous game. They let it slip away. Just a couple more little mistakes here and there. We saw that triple coming out of Kimbo. That would have been a perfect time to push into yard, wait for them. You saw all 3 or 4 players there. They're going to steamboat into yard, go and just be a nuisance. They had nobody there. They then took yard, and they just pushed on through like a train. All 3 members running together. They went 1, yard, 2, bottom mid, 3, snipe. Bang, bang, bang. There you go. Job done. Triple cap flipped straight on its head. Unfortunately, there you have it. We see Team Infused being handed their first loss, but congratulations on the opposing side to Team Vibe with a 3-0.
I think that was the story of the series, really. Infused were doing the right things, but Vibe were just doing them better. And it's going to be hard to take for Infused, but it's definitely something they can look back on. They can look back at the positives. They can watch the VODs and say, okay, so when we were doing these things, what did we do wrong to let them slip away? And that's what they need to change. They need to make sure that those mistakes aren't made. They don't throw away those leads. They don't throw away those power positions that they had during that series.
Well, that's all we've got time for in that series. We are going to take a very, very short break. And, of course, once this break is done, we have your Season 1 champions. They're going to be putting on a show. And, of course, we do have the new edition of Jimbo. Any, can I just grab your guys' initial thoughts now, how this series is going to lay out? Just really quick before we go to a break.
Worried we might see another 3-0.
Yeah?
Just quickly, that's what I'm worried about seeing.
Yep, I'm kind of the same. But I'm hoping the X-Men can surprise us because there's a lot of individual talent on that team, and we've seen in the past what Ramirez can do with individual talent around him. He took X-Men to runners up in the summer season, so let's see if he can try and mold his team the way that he wants them to play and see if the individual talent will pay off for the X-Men.
This is kind of an ongoing story with Ramirez. You brought him off a team, he'll go and build one and make it better and come back and beat you. Hasn't panned out recently, but you know what? Let's see if we can do the same again. Guys, we're going for a very short 5-minute break. After this, we come back with Fab versus X-Men. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in just a second.